Good morning.
Good morning.
As we enter this next year, or any new year, we are bound to wonder what challenges and opportunities it will bring. In some years, we have a pretty good idea, but in others, they turn out to be quite unexpected. From a fairly young age, I've tried to prepare myself for both the challenges and opportunities of each new year by engaging in activities of a soothing, healing, or spiritual nature, what this church is now calling restorative practices. It first started at a time when life in this nation seemed difficult, almost, at least to me, overwhelming. I read a columnist recently who wrote that 2017 has turned out, for many, to be a bad year. But he added, not as bad as 1968. My interest in current events started in junior high school, and the turbulence of the late 60s and early to mid 70s with Vietnam, Watergate, and the cultural and generational strife impacted me greatly, not just because of what I saw on TV, but also what I experienced at home. My older sister was swept up by that era, and my parents' reaction to her hippie phase was anything but supportive and accepting. So I plunged myself into creative activities by making up imaginary games, and when I entered college, I began a daily practice of yoga. I know these activities helped me face the difficulties of that time and made me equipped to become politically active at school and the local level. So when new challenges arose, I continued to engage in restorative practices. One of the most difficult periods of my life occurred when my brother became mentally ill and my parents were ill-prepared to help him. During that time, I supported him as best I could, but I also plunged into creative writing and the practice of journaling. Of course, restorative practices can be just as useful in facing opportunities. A wonderful opportunity arose when I married my wife, Inga, where I went from being a lifelong bachelor in my mid-30s to having a family with 3 kids, the oldest just entering his teenage years. As Inga said, an opportunity for growth. So there was a lot of adjusting to do, and Inga joined me in those early years of our marriage in such restorative practices as physical exercise, dancing, and hiking. Restorative practice has also been a great aid to face the stresses and opportunities of work, particularly when I needed to perform outside of my comfort zone. The practices of guided meditation and emotional freedom technique, EFT for short, significantly improved my performance. One key thing I've learned about restorative practices: they can be enhanced when done in a group or community. When I've had the privilege of participating in yoga, dancing, guided meditations, or sharing writing efforts in groups, the results have exceeded what I could have ever achieved on my own. Now let us enter worship together.